Your brain is designed to adapt. Every time you take a small action, even when it feels uncomfortable, your brain rewires itself. New connections form, old limits weaken, and slowly you become stronger than you were yesterday. Progress doesn't happen in one big moment. It happens through tiny signals you send to your mind and body every day. One workout, one page read, one difficult step you didn't avoid. At first, the results are invisible, but inside you, change is already happening. The problem is, most people quit during this stage. They start something new with excitement, a new habit or new version of themselves. For a few days, they feel motivated. Maybe they wake up earlier, maybe they start exercising, or they begin learning something new. But after a short time, a question appears in their mind. Is this even working? Because the scale hasn't moved, the bank account hasn't grown, and the life they imagined still feels far away. When results are invisible, doubt becomes loud. But what most people don't realize is this: the invisible phase is not wasted time. It is the most important part of the transformation. Because while you cannot see the results yet, your brain is laying the foundation for them. Think of it like planting a seed. When you place a seed in the soil, nothing happens on the surface for a while. Days pass, sometimes weeks. The ground looks exactly the same. If you didn't understand how growth works, you might assume nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, roots are forming. They spread deeper and deeper into the soil, building the strength needed for the plant to grow. And only after those roots are strong enough does the plant finally break through the surface. Your progress works the same way. Before the visible growth appears, your brain is building the roots. This is where discipline begins to matter more than motivation. Motivation is powerful, but it is temporary. It shows up when things feel exciting. It shows up when progress feels quick. But motivation often disappears the moment things become difficult. Discipline is different. Discipline is the quiet decision to continue even when you don't feel like it. It is choosing action over comfort, again and again. Because every time you repeat a positive behavior, you strengthen the pathway in your brain that makes that behavior easier next time. What once felt difficult slowly begins to feel normal. What once required effort eventually becomes habit. And habits are incredibly powerful because habits remove the need for constant motivation. When something becomes a habit, your brain no longer treats it as a challenge. It becomes automatic, just like brushing your teeth. At some point, the action stops feeling like something you have to do and starts feeling like something you naturally do. That is the moment when real change begins to accelerate. But there is another part of growth that people often misunderstand: discomfort. Many people assume that if something feels uncomfortable, it must mean they are doing something wrong. But the truth is the opposite. Discomfort is often a signal that growth is happening, because growth requires you to move beyond what is familiar, and your brain naturally resists unfamiliar things. It prefers safety and routine. It prefers the patterns it already knows. So, when you push yourself to try something new, your brain reacts with resistance. You feel nervous, you feel uncertain, and most time feel like quitting. But every time you move forward despite that discomfort, you expand your comfort zone, and slowly, the things that once felt impossible start to feel manageable. Over time, something incredible happens. The person you are today begins to change gradually. The small actions you repeat begin to shape your identity. The person who once avoided challenges becomes someone who faces them. The person who once doubted themselves becomes someone who believes they can improve, and that belief changes everything. Because when you believe growth is possible, you begin to act differently. You take more chances. You push through more obstacles. You stay consistent for longer periods of time. And consistency is where transformation lives. Think about the strongest people you admire: the athletes, the creators, the entrepreneurs, the people who seem disciplined, confident, and focused. Their success did not come from one giant leap. It came from thousands of small steps and discipline. This is the power of compounding effort. Small actions repeated consistently create extraordinary outcomes. One workout won't change your body, but hundreds of workouts will. So the real question is not whether change is possible. The real question is this: what small signals are you sending your brain today? Because every action you take is teaching your brain something. Every habit you repeat becomes part of your identity. Every decision you make shapes the direction of your life. And the most powerful part of all of this is you don't have to change everything overnight. You don't have to wait until you feel completely ready. You only need to take one step, one small action that moves you forward, one decision that aligns with the person you want to become, and then tomorrow, you take another step and another. Eventually, the invisible progress becomes visible. The strength you've built begins to show. The confidence you've developed begins to grow. The life you once imagined begins to take shape, and people will look at you and think it happened suddenly. But you will know the truth. It wasn't sudden. It was built through thousands of small choices. So remember this: your brain is always adapting. Your habits are always shaping you. Your future is always being built by the actions you take today, which means right now, in this moment, you have the power to begin. Take one step forward. It may feel small, but inside your brain, that step is already changing who you are becoming. And that is how real transformation begins.